We're now in Dallas. Reporter Lupe Zapata is here with me.
You spoke with a lot of families. Talk to me about what stood out for you listening to their stories.
You know, a lot of these families are excited for their kids to be going back to school, but they're nervous. And so many of the families that I spoke with have chosen to keep their kids at home. The family I spoke with, they have 2 teenagers in the house and a 7-year-old who is very immune compromised.
Meet the Collier family. With school starting soon, they let me join them as they did some back-to-school clothes shopping.
Solomon, you cannot wear black and white all year long.
Solomon will be starting the 8th grade back on campus for the first time in more than a year. Their mom, TEIA, is nervous sending the older 2 back to school, even though they've both been vaccinated. That's because Noah is too young to get a vaccine.
This is his oxygen tank. So Noah was a micro preemie. He was born at 1 pound 3 ounces.
I know.
You're not a Lamborghini. You were a micro preemie. He has something called chronic lung disease.
According to the CDC, this condition can make someone like Noah more likely to get severely ill from COVID-19.
Which is why we did not get permission to go back to school yet.
The family already got one scare last October when ZENORAH and her father got sick with COVID.
Got it tested into lockdown.
She was excited to return to in-person learning for part of her freshman year. Solomon, on the other hand, has been stuck at home since March of 2020.
What does it mean to have a structured schedule when you've had a long time of not having it?
Right now, she's accepting positive vibes, and the family would take extra caution to keep Noah safe. But they're ready to return to some sort of normality. A couple of weeks after I went shopping with the Colliers, school districts across Texas began mandating masks, including Dallas and Mesquite, where the kids go to school.
First of all, I'm probably never ever going to advocate breaking the law some way. But as a mom, I'm like, you've got to keep my kids safe.
No, take a step. Yeah.
I have a kid that I put oxygen on at night to go to bed. So it's personal for me. It's not this abstract theory for me. For me, it's real.
Making masks mandatory is again a big topic this fall. In early August, Dallas became one of the first school districts to fight the state's ban on mask mandates. We talked to a group of North Texas parents at Dallas ISD's Prestonwood Montessori and E.D. Walker Middle School about getting back to a sense of normalcy while still dealing with the impacts of this pandemic. This conversation was recorded before the recent rise in COVID hospitalizations.
It's been everything but normal.
Yes.
Right? And each day is something new.
My son, I thought it would be harder on him, but it ended up being harder on me.
Yeah.
He would wake up every day, have his breakfast, go to class, they'd take a break, and he was just, he hopped right in.
But how has it been for you?
So I think just knowing every hat that I have, and I'm wearing mom, student, I'm going back to school. I decided to go back to school during the pandemic. I thought it was the perfect time to really focus on myself, and I had a lot of time at home, so I thought it was just the best time to go back and work on getting a master's. My son is 8 years old. His name is Jacoby. Of course, I have a picture of Jacoby I can show you. This was a couple weeks ago. Oh, wow. It's very recent, yeah. He's the second, so we call him Deuce. Everyone calls him Deuce. I thought it would be harder on him than it was. He's so resilient and he just bounced back immediately. It makes me emotional when I talk about him because just to see everything that they went through the year and just having so much change. Here's a swim video. He loves being at the pool. It was really inspiring, honestly, to see him just bounce back. And he's only 8, but kids are amazing and they're super resilient. So I learned a lot from him during the pandemic. It was a lot, but it made me know, like, okay, you can do this. You got this.
Oh, that's so good.
And it gave me that push to finish everything that I have going on. It's hard. It's hard. And I'm a single parent, so, and I think I'm emotional and I just often cry, but I feel like it's good for me to just get it out that way.
Of course. It was hard in not knowing if I was going to be able to do it, but coming out of it, I'm like, okay, you got this. So
I know there are other single parents. I wonder what it was like for you.
So I'm a full-time single mom of an adopted daughter, but I'm also a business owner.
Okay.
And I had the responsibility of employees, and I did not know what would happen. I had no idea. And I don't have a secondary source of income. So that fear going on, plus the fear of Kate, my daughter.
Sure.
And I don't care what anybody says, the kids pick up on your emotions.
They do.
Yeah,
It's
you're
like
right.
they feel it,
Yeah.
they sense it, and it really informs how they react and respond.
It does.
I've heard so many parents talk about that mommy guilt, the guilt that they felt because they're trying to maintain their business, work from home. You felt some of that?
Oh, every single day. What really got me is when I saw the depression sit in.
What did that look like?
It looked like for our family, it was her staying in bed
Yes.
for a very long period of time. And this is an 11-year-old, at the time, 10-year-old.
So with my boys, who are teenagers, it was anger.
I see.
And I didn't recognize it as depression. And I've dealt with depression for most of my adult life.
What other challenges have you faced during the pandemic?
There's that expectation, like she was saying, about intuition. Like you'll just know because you're their mom.
Right.
And sometimes you miss it and you're not even trying to miss it. Maybe you were even looking for it and you miss it.
My name is Lauren, and I have 2 children, both boys, and they are in 3rd and 4th grade. So my older son, Cardo, is autistic, so for him, having a routine is very important. All of the pivoting and having to be flexible was very challenging for him, because when he doesn't know what's coming or what's next, that's very challenging. It's frightening for him, basically, because a lot of times kids don't really understand. I mean, they never really know what's coming because they're so young.
Welcome to my home. So here we are. I am currently unemployed. I have been on the job hunt for several weeks, actually months now, but part of what's challenging in looking for a job during a pandemic is that everyone directs you to do things online. It's all very impersonal and interesting perspective searching for a job now than when I was job searching last time 5 years ago. Who needs water? Let's go for it. My hopes are that we are able to go back and have as normal of a school year as possible. However, I recognize that with the Delta variant on the rise, as well as things like RSV, we are going to be stunted in that normalcy again this year. And my kids are little, so that was kind of all on me to
And
do.
you were working too.
Yes, I took them to the office with me. So they were in my office every day.
And they don't want to be there.
No, they don't. They don't. But they could go outside. And so that was, really good for them. But we gave up on school pretty early on because I could not sit with my older son and do his work and sit with my younger son and also hear his and give him that extra aid and then do my own work. It was very much like, well, you guys are just gonna have to go outside, try not to die. I don't know.
Please don't die.
Please don't run away. But I have to take this conference call. So sorry.
It's like we
Kind of a
had to
thing.
make a
So-
lot of tough choices.
Yeah.
So as we're talking about returning to school, what's it like for you? Are you excited to get the kids back to school and in the classroom? Do you have mixed feelings? Are you anxious?
And we don't know what the long-term damage is. But I also don't want to live my life scared.
When each day we wake up to another unknown.
It just makes me emotional.
Now we're all good.
I know. Oh my gosh, I was doing so good.
We can relate. It's
Not only us, they've been through so much.
We've been through
this
a
year.
lot.
And I just want them to be happy and learning and
We want them to bounce back
yeah.
or bounce to whatever
Yeah,
is
right.
ahead.
Any silver linings? Anything that's ironically come out of this pandemic that actually
has been a positive for you.
It's like I mentioned earlier, I'm going back to school.
Yes.
That's been my gift from COVID, being able to sit and focus and really put more back into myself.
How about for you?
Having them home was just kind of getting to know them again.
In a different way.
In a different way,
yeah.
because it's different from when they were at home with me and they were like 2 and 3, but now they're little people.
Little humans. Look what I did.
They have thoughts and personalities and you kind of learn all that, and I think it kind of has helped give us a different perspective.
We'll be right back.